vote to continue looking into the option.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
Put it on our workshop, maybe. Is that what you're talking about, John, talking about?
No, I mean, but I want to know, do we want to even just continue looking at each other, or do we want to
I
just?
think that's the question.
The next step with them is actually them coming in, looking at books and water rates and revenues and kind of putting a better, sharpening pencil is what he called it, but getting a better number than just a ballpark. But if we're not interested at all, then there's no sense wasting your time, but if we are interested, then he just want to know what their next steps, what we want them to do, and I just hope.
So are you asking for us tonight to vote as a board to either move forward or stop it? So you need to have a yes or a no?
Yeah, basically, whether we want to
But it's
continue
not
looking at it
finalized.
and
You're
get a
not
better number
finalizing,
for it.
but you,
No,
if,
yeah.
if it's gonna stop, and before, you know, if, I think what you're saying, and what I was trying to figure out was, what's the opinion of the board? Do you want to proceed with this to see what it's, nothing saying we're gonna sell it, whatever.
Correct.
But to see what it is.
Yeah.
I just don't want to waste their time if the board
Right.
is not interested, but if the board is interested in getting a number, then we can tell them to proceed, but I didn't want to waste their time if the board's not interested in it, so that's just want to kind of get a,
So it's really not a motion, you're asking a question to, does it have to be in a form, I don't know the parliamentary procedure on this, because you're kind of asking us, as a board, is the majority for moving forward to get research or not? Is that what you're saying?
yes, yes.
So is that, it's not a motion, I don't guess.
Well,
I mean,
Make a motion that we continue with discussions. Not make any, not signing contracts, not set a price, just continue with discussions.
That you would be
Them to come
interested.
in and look at numbers.
Yeah.
I think we need to have some more conversation, because after the workshop, I can't tell you what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what I think, you know.
Yeah. Continue finding, them
Yeah.
finding out about us finding out them, as opposed to just saying, nah, chalk it.
To see if it's viable for
Yeah,
us.
yeah. So yes, I say we continue with discussions.
I'll second that.
Alderman Meadows,
No.
Alderman Myers,
Aye.
Alderman Ottinger,
No.
Alderman Peden, Alderman Rowland, Alderman Ward.
Yes.
All right, next is the SCADA system. So we've got two quotes to come in on that. I will let Rusty speak to them.
And this just has the one new one in it, that's the one that we like, or go ahead. This one.
They're two totally different systems. The one that's in your packet is the,
VT SCADA system.
what?
VT SCADA system.
And that's what AUB, Watts Bar, and Loudon all run off of.
This one is, what'd you say that again, BT?
VT. It's, like a radio frequency. I knew we would have, if we put this in, we would have our own radio frequency for our SCADA, so it can't be. Plugging into our scanners? Right, you can't hack into it and all that good stuff. And John and I went to, Watts Bar and saw that firsthand with the developer of this named Tim Phillips. He's in Cookville. It blows your mind of what it can do. And when you put it in, when you take and put it in, there's growth with it. And another thing with it too, it's ready to go. He is, 68 years old and been doing this for years now. And he knows his stuff, and anything that tears up can be bought off the shelf and replaced. It's no special, we got to wait on this, or a power source or anything like that. It can be, if it tears up, be replaced. I talked to Austin, from the other, bid on the SCADA, And he said it was gonna be another month before they could ever show us anything with it, because they have problems, stuff running into with Teleco, the things. And I talked to the mayor, I talked to John's talked to the mayor and stuff, and what we both seen, what we agree, we really like the BT SCADA system, because they said, here it is. I'll take this and put this in.
Yeah.
The radio frequency, can we support whatever, because I know we've had issues with police and
He came
everybody
in,
else.
well, that was what he came in and done, and he said if we go with him, they'll do even more, but he came, I took him to all around, tanks, everything else, he said, great radio
Good to go.
shots and stuff, he said, he does not see a problem whatsoever. And, but what I say too, he monitors it himself too, and his company. They watch it, because he says, that's my work, my name's on it, my work, I'm gonna make sure it's working. Because he was telling, like, when we went to watch Bar, Wesley Barger showed us around, and Wesley's like, well, he told Wesley, he said, did you get my text this morning? Wesley said, yes, I did. And he said, like 4:30 that morning, he said, you know you're getting this alarm. Well, do you know that? Yes, yes, I know we take care of that. I mean, that made me feel good.
So having him might help us out as far as, you know, like if John or somebody was going,
Yes.
we might not have a
Monitor.
certified operator,
Right,
and he could, you know,
He can say, hey,
yeah.
this is going on, whatever, yeah, I mean, that's like, another set of eyes.
Yeah, I know we was talking about getting running power and everything, did we ever vote on that? Did that ever get approved before we was?
Over at the tanks?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it never did get approved, voted on.
Okay. Is
But
that on the agenda
the
for
cotton
tonight?
fork is really the only one you have to get power to worry about.
Okay.
Because the Johnny Powell thing, we call it the Johnny Powell thing, it's the same as the cotton fork, whatever in cotton fork tanks is in the Johnny Powell tank.
Okay.
So
So we just need power to one?
you power that one, you're reading both, basically.
And is that required, power required?
It doesn't have to require power to it yet.
Okay.
He said we can do battery operated with that, and then later on, if we want to add power, we can add power.
Okay.
I make a motion that we purchase the BT SCADA system.
I second.
It's $100,000 more. So we have to put that in the notes on why we're going with the more.
Well, the other ones are already having problems and they didn't even got it.
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying.
The others doesn't
Right.
meet your
I
specs
understand,
anymore,
yeah.
now that you've seen this, this
Well,
is
we've
what we
seen it, yeah,
want,
we've-
it doesn't do
we've
what
seen
you
that
need
work,
it
and
to
it's
do.
just-
And we're paying for a service.
I just, yeah, but for the record, like you said, we need to
Yeah.
be able to say why, why
Yeah.
aren't you
And
using
I-
this
and
or
I
this
don't know
or
it
that.
either, and I know what I'm saying.
But basically, the other system doesn't, it's not sufficient after you've seen this system.
No,
It's
because
not.
we had to call, because, like I said, they're trying to put it in at Teleco, and the main guy, Derek, he lives in North Carolina, okay, and where Tim is in Cook. And
Yeah.
he got people that, I mean, you just call up, when they're there.
Yeah.
I'll get with you so we can make some notes on this.
Okay.
And I don't
This bid.
know, because I don't know, we've not done anything this big.
I know, but-
Does this need to wait to budget as a capital project? Or does it, I don't know how it should be done, because this is a huge, it's a
It'll be
capital
fund balance
project.
regardless how we do it, but
Yeah.
when we do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I would,
Is there
if we're gonna do
issue-
this in that year, I will probably need to add, I would need to add this on to the second, before the second reading of the budget to get it in
Yeah.
there. Yeah, and we can do that.
I mean,
Now,
that's
is
what
it
I'm
fund
asking.
balance or is it water sewer?
It would have to come from water sewer.
Water sewer fund balance.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
water sewer fund
Yeah,
balance.
water.
Gotcha.
So apparently we were in the hole.
I don't think, now you said that.
I don't
the
understand
Sewer
sewer-
was, not the
Sewer.
water, is the way I
Yeah.
No, he's
understand
showing the
it.
whole thing is 53,000 in the hole.
Or
Yeah, but-
sewer is
but-
what he
but
said.
cash
But
flow.
Brian can probably
That's where it's
explain that a little.
The
Yeah.
300,000, 312, whatever,
Right.
that's where you took part of the money and you purchased a CD.
Cool.
That's,
Mhm.
that's a investment of cash.
So
That was the cash that was made this year from your bills over your expenditures. Then we purchased a CD of 312, or it might be a combination of them, that's the net total. But we used 312 in investment, which means we purchased CDs.
But we did, I mean, it was no new money.
Yeah,
Oh,
but,
yeah.
but we don't have
Cash
that
flow
300,000 in the cash drawer.
Cash flow,
But it was before.
Yeah, that's why it's a negative cash flow, because it's not there.
But it had to come out and let's put it back in.
It went out from the cash register
Yeah, I
drawer,
don't know.
I don't get it.
from the cash register drawer to the bank, so
Yeah.
it's no longer, it's cash flowing out of the cash register
Yeah.
drawer into the bank.
You're
so-
saying it went into the cash register drawer and then it came back
Yeah.
out.
Mhm.
So, it was there, and then we lost it. I'm like, it
I
should
don't-
be zero, because we got it.
Yeah, 'cause
matured.
we didn't take any of our
Money.
No.
checking account money and move it to a new CD. We just renewed CDs as they came due, but
It should have been, account.
Mr. Phillips did say, I asked him what the timeline was on that, if we agreed to do this. He said 120 days.
So we could put it in the budget.
I think I'd do it July 1st.
What?
Personally, I'd do it July 1st.
Put it in
And
the
get it
budget.
next year, so you got all year to deal with it. The worst thing you can do is put it in the last month of this year,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then have to
Money
explain it 1,000
often.
times.
Two more months ain't gonna hurt to
It's
do
not gonna
without
hurt
it.
us.
We went without
We
it
went
July
this
1st.
long.
30 years, so.
But do we need to go ahead and vote on it?
Or is it just?
I think
next year's budget.
Vote on
Put it in the
Do
budget.
it.
July 1st,
Right.
or July 5th, yeah, or whatever the meeting's gonna be on, yeah.
Regardless, there's a motion and a second on the table, so we
Yeah.
need to vote.
Who was the second? Was that
Meadows.
Pete? Was it?
Here.
Gary.
I'm for it,
Got it.
so,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
Yeah, I am too. I just want to make sure we do it the easiest way, not create
So,
more
I agree.
headaches in our county.
We're making a motion to do it in July, or what the meeting is.
Or part of the capital projects for next year's
Okay.
budget.
Put
I
in-
have a question on that.
Okay.
Okay, you voted to do this, okay, but you're saying can let Mr. Phillips know.
Can
that
we
want
let him know?
Yes on this,
That's
so
what
he
I'm saying.
can't be invoiced until July 1st, or is that he gets started right away, is that how this works?
Mm-mm.
July 1st.
So we gotta be
So
after
that we're
July
committing
1st.
Gotta be
Do it now.
after July
Yeah.
1st for invoice.
He got the bid, but not to start until,
Not to start till July
you
1st.
can let him know, we will.
Well, that will give him time to get
Yeah.
what he needs, parts and everything,
Yeah,
and that
Probably like-
probably go quicker.
45 days
I've done that.
in there.
Okay.
Cover.
Alderman Meadows.
Aye.
Alderman Myers.
Aye.
Alderman Oddinger.
Yes.
Alderman Peden. Alderman Rowland.
Aye.
Alderman Ward.
Aye.
What you ready to say?
Means
All right,
like-
salary schedule update. This was just cleaning it up, basically, making a different sheet, providing the, Public
Department.
Works,
Mhm.
yeah, departments, that's what I was looking for. Report, police department, and then just kind of basically straighten everything up, clean it up, and rearranging money within the budgets, no new money.
I'll make a motion, we do the salary, accept or approve it, whatever it is. Salary schedule update.
Second.
Did we make,
And we made the changes, there was a change from the version
From
that you
last
saw
time, yeah,
at
yeah.
the workshop.
Yeah, the sergeant pay went up, it was
Straighten
supposed to be
that
up
out.
$2,000 more than what I put on there originally.
And I will say this, we'll talk about it, in the budget, I think on my email said, we did figure up raises to, if
And
you
it's not
approve
in
it, but it's not in this, so we wanted to, so if you do approve that on the first reading, I'll bring back next month we'll raise the minimum maximum, but that is not included in this. Okay, Alderman Meadows,
Aye.
Alderman Myers.
Aye.
Alderman Oddinger.
Yes.
Alderman Peden.
Aye.
Alderman Rowland. Alderman Ward.
yes.
All right, Nathan Denton, one-time certification payment, instructor development for $500.
Make a motion.
So,
Is that Peden?
Peden, I think.
Yes.
Go.
put the names on.
Alderman Meadows.
Aye.
Alderman Myers.
Aye.
Alderman Oddinger.
Yes.
Alderman Peden.
Aye.
Alderman Rowland.
Aye.
Alderman Ward.
Yes.
All right, the last two is just changing the bank account signature authority.
I make a motion that we change the bank account signature authority.
I have some questions.
I like to
The
make,
budget ordinance, so
on the
we
police,
skip past that.
Oh, I
on
did
the
skip one,
police
sorry.
restricted funds, it's my understanding, that should be the mayor and the chief of police are the only two on that account,
On the inheritance
on
fund?
the inheritance fund. Not,
Why?
that's the way it was.
Oh, yeah.
That was the way it was
Mr. Melton.
when they done it. It should-
Was
that's what it
who?
was. The mayor and the chief of
They,
police.
they decide how it's spent, but I think, I don't know how Laura,
I mean, we just
I
signed
think it's just
checks.
like me, just in case Wynn's not here to sign it.
Yeah.
but we have segregation of duties issues. And I'm just, okay, who's writing our checks? Is that you or is that Kim?
Kim is processing the checks, the invoices, and cutting the checks, and then the mayor and I are
So
signing.
she
Who's
really shouldn't be
reconciling
on.
the cash account?
Do what?
Who's reconciling that account?
Me right now, it will be, we're gonna get one of the clerks to separate that soon.
But should she not be signing them if she's writing them?
That's just been a backup that we've always had.
I know,
so it
but I'm just
doesn't-
saying that's
yeah,
not a
yeah.
good
And I would
segregation of
say-
duties.
Yeah, I mean, you would, it is definitely that's not ideal. I bet that happens,
But
you know, it's rare, but we've had it as a backup.
I'm just
but-
saying, what the auditor just got through
Mhm.
saying, that would be a step in the right direction, to have the mayor and the chief of police only signatures on that account. That y'all can process the checks internally,
Yeah.
whatever, but the chief of police and the mayor gotta sign it, and nobody else.
On just the inheritance of
On the
everything.
Inheritance.
That would be a segregation of duty in fact and appearance. I mean, that would be the real deal.
If so, then I don't know
How many
that I
checks
would,
How
like,
many checks are written out there in a year?
well, I was gonna say, a couple of points. We don't actually write checks out of that account. We've not gotten checks. What we do is, we have that as a separate account, but the police inheritance line item is a general fund account. So we cut the checks out of the general fund, then we transfer the money to cover that cost from general fund over to, or transfer it from there. So we're not actually writing checks, we've just got some little handheld checks that would require just setting, I mean, we
But
write
it's-
one or two
It's
a
not general
year.
fund, it's restricted.
It is restricted and it is kept separate, but it's restricted in the general fund, I mean, it's general fund dollars.
She said the checks just rolled out of general, but when you use it, they pull it out of here
Pull it out.
and put it into the
Yeah.
general to write the check out.
So you got a cash register, a drawer.
I know, we're back to that,
But-
but it was set up so that money, you know, it's.
Yeah, and so we keep it separate. If I write $1,000 check out of the general fund, I then take $1,000 and transfer it from the inheritance fund over to general to cover it. So that balance is, it's essentially we're writing checks, just, we don't have that whole fund set up. We don't have
Then the
the big
checkbook.
checks for it and it in the system and to reconcile it. That's the way, because it is general fund money. I mean, it's police, is general fund. But I mean, if we weren't signatories on the account, if you're saying like that I should,
No,
or Kim
it was
should,
my understanding.
I wouldn't be able to access the bank records, I don't
Yeah.
think. I think that would,
Yeah.
When I was on the board when that was set up,
Mhm.
and I misunderstood because it was my understanding from reading the letter and everything that come in, that was gonna be a restricted account.
it is. Mhm.
I mean, not a restricted line item.
Mhm.
So basically, that account doesn't exist. If that money was put into the general fund and there's a line item saying this here, but as far as, if you were to go draw out the money right now,
It's at its own fund.
but it's
Has
not.
its own account?
No.
It's
It's
in
in
its
the-
own bank account. It's what I'm just clarifying.
It's in its own bank.
Yes, there's a CD and there's a bank account. But for, like, the general ledger account
Mhm.
is in the general fund.
So there's an account at a
There-
bank somewhere
Yes.
that says police inheritance. fund.
Right. It's its own separate account. But as, accounting wise, it's a, you know, I mean, that is, far as funds and our governmental funds, that's part of the general fund. Police is general fund, and so there is a, you know, if you look at your,
Okay, how do you do water and sewer? Is there a separate, is it all one checking account and you're just moving money, or do they have separate checks?
water and sewer is all together.
But I mean, separate checks from general fund.
Yes. We have,
So why not have separate checks for,
I mean, we can do that, it just, when we set it up, we did a money market, and we cut 1 or 2 checks out of that account, you know, a year. But, I mean, we can set it up as a,
it's just like, Brandon should have control along with the mayor to decide what the money's used for, the way it was set up. And just like the fire department, Ty should have control over whatever
I
they
mean,
spend out
as
of
they
that
do,
account.
I mean,
Yeah.
being a signatory on an account is an administrative thing, right? I mean, it's
But that, I was, yeah, and that's, but I think there's 2 different issues
I'm not
here.
sure what,
I'm a
there's a
little
problem, or I
confused.
don't understand. I mean,
I'm confused. That the police have their own bank account, but the fire department couldn't have their own bank account.
They can, but it has to go through her.
So if they wanted to open an account for donations that came to them, it would have to go through her.
She has to open it along with Ty.
Huh. I don't think I realized that, because that would have been a better option for them, right? To get
Still,
the-
you have to come to
Yeah,
town
still
to
have
get
to go.
checks. But yeah, that's the same thing. But it's a difference in, it was $180,000.
Yeah, and I understand that, I'm just saying what's good for one should be good for both.
And it's still a restricted account. The fact that to write any checks, that money goes to, still comes, and it comes that we approve.
yeah, I mean, the
Right.
board approves all expenditures, no matter what
Well-
account it is. The board, I mean,
We don't
it has
really-
to
we
have
don't-
but I'm saying, you authorize it with the budget. If there's a budget in a line item, that authorizes the, you know, those expenses to be, to be made.
There were a lot of hands out when the money came in. Mr. Melton was very protective of it, and he wanted it set up that way. And if the mayor and the police chief decided how that money was spent, we've kind of got away from that. And it needs to go back into their hands.
So you're saying, wait, you're wanting to set it up, if me and Brandon want to go spend $50,000 on something, we don't have to have the board approve?
That's the way it was set up.
I don't like that. I don't like having that authority,
But the
I mean-
board does,
They
just,
just trailer without.
the board has to put a budget in, so at least at budget time, the board has to approve a budget for that, that's just government accounting. I mean, we can't, there's no special rules
Right.
that it gets to be separate, you know, from that.
But it's.
But, you know, there's a, and you can, it's in the bottom, the special
Special revenue.
There's no part, there's not a line in there for it.
police inheritance expenses is $421,900.
Okay, where is that?
It's on the
It's
special
Fourth of July,
expenses.
TVA impact.
No, I'm looking at the budget for next year.
Oh, for that, it is,
Sorry.
at the bottom, it's on page 4, police inheritance expenses, yeah, so we need to.
Where is it?
It's on the back page, non-operating grant revenue and expenses. Yeah, it's got a 0 in there right now because
Okay,
we
you
didn't
didn't
discuss
pull
any,
that out, okay.
you know, we didn't discuss
coming out.
any. I just pulled that out, you know, separate again so we can know what our operating revenue expenses are separate. So right now, it's a 0, so you would need, either we need to change it, you know, if you wanted to have the authority to purchase it, we need to put a budget in there, or you would amend it in later.
Chief, what's your opinion?
I mean, it doesn't bother me to get board approval before I spend any money out of it. And it keeps me honest, and I'm cool with that.
You really have a problem there.
So
What's the
basically, this
answer,
is just
Brian?
on the agenda, just to add Brandon?
Well, it's on the,
Yeah.
well, that plus Cheryl's gone and so we lost one of our signatories and so we,
But it
just to straighten it out, we need, but yes, to get Brandon on there, we've gotta have some minutes that says he's an authorized user.
But did Monty ever have trouble with us not approving something?
They didn't have to ask, like the trailer was purchased between him and Jeremy. They informed the board, you don't have to ask. We don't.
Yeah, the board, I mean,
I like it coming from the board, just so everybody's on the same page and not spinning on whatever. Not that we would, but just future-wise.
And like I say, the other issue, and Brian may answer this because I'm not, this government accounting is different than what I'm used to. The person who writes the check shouldn't be signing the checks, correct?
right.
So we need somebody else besides Kim to sign checks.
But if Laura's not here,
We have two other people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we should, that's just.
I'm just saying
my-
because that's part of
But
segregation.
don't you have to, does the mayor, you have to sign every check?
Uh-huh.
I do. I mean, it's Mayor John and Laura, you know who it is.
Yeah, we have either one employee and one board
So
member.
it's either
that-
you or
yeah,
whoever, or
Yeah,
John.
yeah, it wouldn't be me and Kim. It- or- yeah,
Right,
yeah.
that's the way I took it anyway.
Now, the bank is not necessarily gonna enforce that kind of rules, but we do within our,
Right.
yeah,
But
we,
it's also
because
his
we want to make sure that a board member has signed.
But yeah, it would be,
It's
you're
also who's
right.
reconciling the checks. I
Mhm.
mean, these are all things we have to fix.
I mean, it's true that Kim, I mean, we could, if we need another backup just to have it, we could have, I mean, I think Amber will probably be the one when we start doing reconciliations, that she would be the one to do that, so we could have Heidi as far as another staff member, or pick another board
I'm
member.
just asking Brian, because he's more of the expert. I mean, I don't.
Or we don't
somebody
have to
else
have
may
a
be,
board,
I'm
you
not.
know, I mean, I'm always here to sign checks, it's just one of those where,
But you never
every once in a
know.
while, there's a situation where, somebody really
His
needs a check, so we
contract
thought we were
doesn't-
gonna use a credit card, instead we need a check
We
every
just made
Christmas.
it take her off because she's the one.
I'm just saying, yeah, it's,
Yeah.
in my,
Yeah, you
talk to me, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting there trying to think, you only have so
It's
much
segregation of
capacity.
Yeah,
duties,
you only have so many.
internal controls.
If the mayor or the vice mayor signs off on a check, to me, that gives enough internal control over it.
So that's not one of the things that we're ticked on.
No.
No, because we have multiple signers on it. It's as if, here would be one of them. Kim goes in and realizes there's a bank issue. Kim goes in and makes a journal entry and adjusts the cash balance, or she adjusts something in there. She books the entry and moves on. Kim's the only person that ever saw it. Kim, just use an example, is that.
And she's probably still
And-
figuring this out.
Or Laura, either one. See, that's the thing about it is, in a true, what they get us on this Sarbanes-Oxley thing is where if the person is making the journal entry, needs to have approval from someone else before it's booked. That's the gist of it.
I just remember from the training, that was one of the things that was
Yeah.
said.
Mhm.
The person
That's
who
what you
writes the
don't,
check,
what you don't wanna
don't
have.
reconcile them and don't
Right,
sign
exactly,
them.
and we're usually pretty, we have.
There's been other entities in the county that have had this happen, and bunches of money end up gone.
It's happened here.
And it's happened here.
Not with this
before.
group, sorry.
Yeah, I
Not,
mean, but
not
so
the
you have
past
to be
20
careful
years.
with that. And that's what,
Mhm.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say.
yeah.
And I wasn't trying to be a stick, I think if the mayor and, the police chief, if Brandon wants to, do something like that, as long as, maybe I was taking it too far, because I thought it was a separate bank account, separate everything, but it's not. It's a line item, so you're doing, it's a bank account,
Separate bank account.
It is a bank account, but
Uh-huh.
that bank account rolls
It's
into the
rolled
general fund.
Okay.
Yes.
When you say rolls, does that mean?
Well, it's just
you're
part of-
going online and
Yeah,
getting
it's
certain money?
just booked in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we write the check out of the general fund, 'cause that is, and then we, if I, write $1,000 check, then it
Mhm.
goes out of the general fund, then we
So
go,
Brandon
we do a
and
transfer
Wayne would
over.
approve the transfer out of that fund to back to the general fund, and that's how money would be dispersed out of that
So
account.
Brandon has to approve the transfer and
Yes,
the invoice.
that would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, the invoice,
That-
yeah.
that-
I mean,
Is
the
there-
transfer is
is
more
there-
just accounting on the back, yeah,
But
but,
there, can we create something that he can approve, or?
They should be
how
a
do
I
you-
mean, he
document.
signs off on all
If-
invoices
what,
for the
Brian?
police
There should be a
department.
document on that, that
There's
would
not.
show, we can make one.
But she's just doing it online.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But there should
he's signing
be-
off on the invoice to pay it, but yeah, we can, we can do that, 'cause when we do transfers, we print off something to have in our records, so
And have
we can
Brandon
kind,
sign
just
it.
to kinda go with the, hey, here, we spent this much money, here's where we're transferring the money, so, yeah, we can do that.
So the mayor and Laura can't spend money out of the inheritance fund without Brandon's approval, is the gist of it, looking at it in a different direction.
Darn it.
So, can we step back and everybody open their book up to page 22, please?
Can we finish out my motion that I have on the table?
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's okay.
It died.
No.
Thank you.
What are we,
Okay, I make a motion that we approve all bank account signature authorities listed on the agenda. On both the police inheritance fund and all bank accounts.
Second.
Alderman Meadows, Alderman Myers,
Aye.
Alderman Oddinger,
Yes.
Alderman Peden,
Aye.
Alderman Rowland,
Oh,
Alderman Ward.
yes. And I don't know if it's a motion, but I make a motion that we create a document that he has to sign to approve transfers.
We'll put that into,
Somewhere.
The blue book.
Big book.
What page?
Page 22,
Out of this,
The blue book.
this one's the binder. If you look down to the middle of the page, where it says cash flow from investment activities, you see there? The sentence right below it says what? Purchases of certificates of deposit and investments. So, that is the way they account for it in the accounting, but that money, had we not done that, would have shown a $280-something thousand dollar, or what was it, $360-something thousand positive cash flow. And that's all I'm saying. So when, I don't want y'all to walk out here thinking we went negative in cash flow this past year, because we didn't. Even though that's
Just
one
accounting
page in this thing here shows that, but you gotta add back that 312 to it if you're thinking about it in our personal lives.
So if we took that 58,000
That's at the bottom of that.
and subtracted it from the 312,
No, you add it to the 312. Because that's cash provided overall. And
Which is
you
in the
add
negative, but-
312 to
Which
it.
is a CD.
but I was saying if you subtract it, would that kind of
Right.
give us a true
true.
of where we
No,
actually are?
if you take the bottom number and add 312 to it,
Which bottom number? The negative 58,000?
yeah, where is that at? I keep on the page in this other book.
but again, counting.
Yeah, I know it is not a regular accounting.
Yeah.
It's, I should have paid a
It's
little
on
more
the
attention to
statement,
it.
right here.
I was trying
So
to-
if you look, let me explain to you this way. Cash flow from operating, that's our business here. We generated $920,000 worth of cash in 2024, okay?
Yep.
We spent on capital assets, we used, that negative right there is what we used the cash for, $459,000, we bought capital assets. The contributions was something that provided cash to us in the related thing. I don't know which one that was that actually brought that, but there was a grant or something that brought that money in. Proceeds from sale of capital asset. I don't remember, we sold trucks or whatever. That's where that $10,000, it provided cash to us. we paid principal of $185,000. That used our cash. The interest we had to pay to the bank and to the state was 77, so, you know, you had 920, less 675,000.
And that's more true.
And then there's where your number is. So, you get the 9,000 from the insurance claim from that lightning or whatever it was at the time. And then, if you had to purchase that 312,000 CD, you would have had the, decrease in cash. So, you take do it around the other way, you do the 312 minus the 58, is what your number is. I mean, it's always looking at the same.
Well, we got to the same place, it's just different ways.
Yeah, that's what.
Well, that's fine, yeah. But I just want everybody to come out here thinking, my God, we went down, we went backwards. We didn't go backwards. I'm surprised, but we didn't.
And sewer should look better this year.
And our general fund was better, but you have to look at the $155,000. We had a $33,000 a year in interest that we may or may not get, plus TBA impact funds. So we were probably 60 to the good. I don't know how much we spent last year. But that's still, we're in the positive. We weren't in the red.
That was gonna be.
Yeah.
Before we finish, I skipped one earlier, I didn't pay attention to the ordinance 274, first reading, which was the FY26 tax rate and budget ordinance. Skipped right over that.
So this does, the only, well, I outlined the changes, when I sent it out, but this does include, $1,500 per employee increase. So salaries were adjusted there. Again, we haven't changed it on the schedule yet, so we'll need to do that if you leave it in there. I did calculate it at the $2,000 if you wanted to go that rate, and it would fit, and it can, the budget can be adjusted, you know, before the second reading if you wanted to do that, but right now it's got the 1,500.
Was there a property tax increase?
No property tax increase in this. If you want to do that, we can adjust those numbers.
I didn't pay that attention.
But yeah, no, this has the .3449 and keeps the property tax revenue at the same levels.
I know in the email you said you made a lot of adjustments, but I don't know where those were.
Yeah, it was just, the ones that were, so it was the salary, the,
200 to the library.
I did the library, I increased, water revenue some. It's still conservative, but I increased it over the last version that you saw. And then,
Did you cut any general fund lines of expenses or revenue, or did you up the revenue?
No, I did not. I went back and looked at that number and couldn't really justify increasing that, so it looks it looked about right on that local option sales tax. So it was still coming in right at that rate. So let's see here. There were a couple, there was maybe a, TVA in lieu of that was coming in, it looked it was coming in higher than normal, so I increased it $1,000 based on how it was coming in. That corporate, remember the corporate excise tax, that's one that I don't know that I 100% understand where it comes from. It's one check a year. I believe it's like earnings from corporations in the state. One year it's $7,000, the next year it's $3,000. So I lowered it because this past year was lower, but we have seen where that will just pop right back up the next year. So that we went with the lower figure.
Local in lieu, is that what that was?
That was.
Is that what you're talking about, that local in lieu?
The local in lieu DHA. Let's see here. No, let's see here. TV.
Because I was looking, I don't see.
Yeah,
corporation.
let's see here.
Is it set down here?
TVA.
Corporate
in lieu
excise tax,
of-
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
1,000.
Turnout gear was one of the other ones.
Oh, yes, and the turnout gear, we did add a line item for turnout gear, and it did, and so it has 10,000, and it did fit in there too.
Did all the police stuff Was it in there?
Yes, the police requests from the last meeting were in there.
The,
Increase the operating from 4,100 to 7,000, but I didn't put in the body cam, I didn't do anything on
yeah.
that.
Is that anything we wanna address, or are we just gonna let it go?
Well, something me and Brandon talked about was you can pay it yearly for over the 5 years, and it breaks it down to where you pay the same amount over the 5 years, but you're not getting hit with one big chunk at one time. I don't know if he has that breakdown with him, but that way we could,
That'll fit in the budget?
I think that will fit the budget that way. Instead of paying the 16,000 at one time, we can spend the 4 or 5, I don't know, 3 to 5,000, something like that. Do you have that?
Yeah, I've got it here. So basically, if you break it down into a yearly payment, the first year was $6,595.35. If we decide to do this early, and again, we don't have to do this early, this is just me looking ahead, trying to get ahead of the fire department's needs for that budget year that we are going to have to renew this contract. Even if we wait and we do this in not this coming budget, but the one after, we still have the option to do the yearly payments instead of the upfront payment. It will be probably a little bit more expensive then, because we won't get the discount for the years in the current contract that we're getting credit for by renewing early.
Can we make it?
Right now, we're paid up through the end of,
We're good through, I believe it was May of 2027. And like I said, that's gonna be, and not this coming budget, but the next budget year, when there will be an expense for the fire department that they're gonna be asking for.
Can we adjust the budget for the second reading to include the where you bust it up over 5 years?
$5.95.
Yearly?
$65.95.
We could squeeze that in.
What kind of cushion does that give us?
Let's see here.
No,
It's not a lot right now, but I think that,
we have $3,900 cushion.
yeah, I think there's probably some small adjustments here and there, admin or
Keeping
something.
the tax rate the same?
Yeah, so we calculated that, it was,
$15,000, this would be different.
impact on people.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you can let me know and I can,
What did you ever find out about the annex and about what we did?
We looked
as far as
up-
leaving up the circles that.
Workshop?
on the
everybody else in
circle,
the city around it.
Yeah, we can go ahead.
the circle, right now, and I need to go back to it because I read a couple of different places on MTS's website about annexation, and, referendum is, it's either required or it's still, or that is the, let me go back to that. I need to research further, because it changed a couple times over the years where the legislature made some adjustments, and what I read, was not clear. I know at one point it became all referendum, but I think that they might have changed it up since then, but I need to follow up with that again.
I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up to, last year we went through this, and I know it opened up a can of worms, and I'll go ahead and open it up again this year, but it still bothers me that we're giving the same rewards to people that are doing what we asked, and that are certified on learning the water plant, sewer plant, or whatever, and we're not even considering giving them different cost of living raises and stuff like that. It still bothers me that we've got some employees that it's okay for them not to have to do and have any responsibility and any expectations, and it's the following year, and it hadn't changed, and it still bothers me. And since it's cost of living time, I think this is where it comes. If we keep doing it like this, there's gonna be no incentive for them to ever learn the systems and ever get certified on these jobs that we need people to be certified on. You know, and I mean, sooner or later, we've got to say, hey, this is what we want, you know what I mean? We're rewarding these other people, y'all are not getting rewarded as much because you're not doing what we're asking. Sooner or later, that's got to happen. And I think this would be the perfect opportunity to make that start. But that's just whatever y'all think, and I just wanted to throw that out there, you know, and I mean,
You mean doing a percentage instead of the flat rate, or? I don't
no,
understand what
I'm
you're
just
saying.
saying, this one,
After a certain
I
period.
get
the
this
people,
much, you
the
get this
people not
much.
getting, if we ask you to try to get certified in something and you chose not to, you get a $500 cost of living raise, and everybody else that did exactly what we was, and got certified and did everything, they get a $1,500 one. Whatever we decide, but I think sooner or later, we've got to come up
Yeah.
for the people, the employees, to have responsibility to do these jobs that we need them to do. Because, like right now, we're probably 5 years away, I hate to point you out, Rusty, but, you know, Rusty's probably 5 years away from retired. We need somebody to learn his job, you know, and I'm not even talking about, I'm just talking about your sewer plant operator, you know, but we still don't have anybody wanting to step up and get in these roles, and if we just keep giving everybody the same raises, we'll never have anybody wanting to step up and get in these roles. Why would they?
Well, I mean, with the employees we got, two of the positions, they were offered $5,000 extra to go do that, and they weren't interested. So I don't know that that would help either way.
Well,
Maybe time to put up on your own.
maybe it's time to, right now it's 5,000, you know, we'll make it an extra 1,000 this year. You know, I mean, something's gotta happen on this, because, I'm sorry, Russ, I didn't mean to interrupt.
My opinion on that is, I mean, y'all do what you want to do, but if you do that, you may have people quit, then you're not gonna get anybody hired back in here. We put the jobs out there, nobody wants them. We've advertised for it, nobody wants them. And I'm gonna tell you something, I lose Randall down there. I mean, that's big, that's huge.
Where is Jackson now?
Jackson's on the crew. Jackson went down, tried it, didn't like it, went back to the crew.
And he's water distribution
And he's water
certified.
But
distribution,
he's
he's certified distribution. Randall's certified in water distribution, but Randall got moved down there after Shane got fired. And I moved up.
Gary, maybe we have some conversation at the workshop?
So how about if I make a motion that we adopt this budget, have a workshop,
Talk about tax rate.
talk tax
Employee
rate
raises.
and raises,
I mean,
just to move the process
We've
along.
gotta have some type of plan to have people to come in, because like, we talked about Jerry Harris leaving and us not having somebody for 5 years, and nothing got done and he left.
We are in
You
the.
know what I mean, and we're within this same process at the sewer plant right now. Having somebody that knows it in and out.
And I think, well, too, this is my thinking too, I commend y'all going forward on with the Tennessee American and looking at that closer and further, because they've got the people.
Because they pay.
They've got the people. And then the future of this, and this is my opinion, I'm looking at the future of this, let's say Tennessee American here. All right, we put in those new water meters, 2 years ago? Has $500,000. 10 years, they're obsolete, they're done, all right? Odds are, in 10 years, they're all gonna go bad at the same time. All right? They go bad at the same time, figure out how much that's gonna cost in 10 years. And that's gonna be on who do we pay? We're gonna pay that money to replace that? I mean, you gotta look at that. You talk about revenue. this is a company that can come in and put water in places we couldn't put water in. Then you got people moving in, and sewer too. You got people moving in the city here, wherever like that, bam, there's your tax dollars, there's your revenue. I mean, that's, you gotta look at the future, and that's what I'm afraid of, and y'all get mad at me, whatever. But I'm just gonna put it out there. I've been here 17 years, going on 17 years, and nothing has really ever been done to look to the future. It's always been boom. And we've always lived by a grant, lived and died by grants. And with the way things are now, that grant money may dry up just like that. Then what we're gonna be? I mean, seriously, this could be huge for this town, for this county, altogether. I mean, you're talking people in the county too.
As far as the offer that they made, I mean, I would love to buy anything that grosses $1.8 million and give them $6 million for it. I mean, I would love to do that. Anything I could afford, I would borrow Trump's money and do that if I could, in 3 years be out. I mean, the offer that they come and give us, that's not a real offer. I mean,
No, that's not a real offer. Every time I look, that's what I'm saying. You guys get looking deeper into this and what it's gonna be, what it actually can be. I mean, that's huge.
Well, if we sell it, though, we're gonna have less money for city services that's not paid for by the water and the sewer. You know what I mean? We'll
That's
have,
what we gotta look at.
Yeah.
you know.
we just have
Yeah,
the budget, taxes,
well, I
and
understand
then
that.
that's gonna hurt
I
every
understand that, but
department.
when,
It hurt the police department, fire department,
right,
because it pays a lot of,
I understand
It
that.
doesn't pay
salaries
police or fire.
percent.
Not their expenses,
Well,
little
their
overhead,
salaries.
it would help cover overhead.
But I mean, this building, we have this
Yeah,
building
Building,
because of water
That's
and sewer.
big.
We couldn't afford
right.
on general fund.
I second John's motion.
Alderman Meadows, and this
Aye.
is for the first reading of the budget. Alderman Myers.
Aye.
Alderman Ottinger.
Yes,
Alderman Peden. Alderman Rowland. Alderman Ward.
Yes.
All right, we should decide on workshop and we're done.
I meant to mention earlier, this, and it's related, on May 20th, the Tennessee downtowns, the people from the University of Georgia that most of you met with to discuss our downtown master plan, they are going to come to town at 5 o'clock on May 20th, which is like that Tuesday, I guess it's next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
And of course, we would like the board to come hear them and see the plan. So, the thought was they were already gonna do that date, but we were maybe gonna do a daytime meeting, but I said, we got working board members, and so if we could do it later. And so anyway, if you guys could come to that, if that would be a good date, we could put a workshop and that meeting in to only use one of your nights, and so that you can make it to that. But it is at 5 o'clock on May 20th.
We need to have the workshop.
We'll have the workshop after that, maybe?
I'm
And they're
good.
gonna meet here, if that's okay with you guys, have the group here, because I think that, and you guys here, and they'll come here.
Anybody can't make it on the 20th?
Okay.
Do that at 5 and do that.
And we will bring some food too.
Workshop at
Me too.
6, and that way, if you can't make it to 1, you make it to the other maybe. Everybody goes up?
Can
Yep.
you get everything ready, budget-wise?
Yes, we'll get on it,
Anything else, discussion?
So you do want me to look at, still run some numbers for,
And Mayor? Mayor,
property taxes?
Yeah.
do you have the paper we need to sign?
Oh, you know what, I will get you to sign that on the 20th.
Yeah, but yes, please. The just-
Property tax numbers to
yeah,
maybe look at right now.
numbers
Okay.
and maybe,
And I don't really know what else I can do beyond that. I used to try to calculate, it was again between 3,000 and 3,500 per penny, so we can multiply that out.
And then put the camera in the police budget or.
Okay, yeah, that's it now.
Will you add to the workshop to discuss maybe the cleaning of this building? I know that we've got somebody that's doing it, but I've been to that bathroom 2 times,
It's bad.
and I've had to
Okay.
clean it both times.
Well, then I
Just for me to
I
use
just
it.
need to give him better, he comes by every day and asks me if there's anything to do,
Okay.
and so I think I thought that he was, there was a time I was thinking he was checking them anyway.
And I'm not
so I ju-
knocking that he's a boy.
I'm
just-
So I will just.
I feel like we've got some people that might do a more thorough job.
Right. Well,
I don't
will,
like that every time I come in, I
I
have
just
to.
came out of there, it's clean.
I know, I cleaned it just a minute ago when I went
We
in.
will-
Yeah.
I will.
The spray is still out. The spray is still out and the one is still wet. Go in there and grab it. I cleaned it myself.
So anyway.
I just, if we could
We'll
add
get on
that,
that,
maybe.
we'll put that in somebody's
Thanks.
daily activity.
Thanks, Cal.
Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
That's all.
Something wrong.
What time y'all leaving?